All right, so for today's deep dive, we're opening up a novel that I think completely changed how the public sees a very famous painting. Tracy Chevalier's 1999 book, Girl with a Pearl Earring.
It really did. And it all started for her with the painting itself.
Right, she was just completely captivated by the model's look, wasn't she?
Yeah, she called it a mass of contradictions, innocent yet experienced, joyous yet tearful.
She basically said she needed to invent the story behind that look,
And she imagined that look was directed right at the painter, Johannes Vermeer.
which sets up the entire story.
Exactly. So the story she creates throws our main character, Griet, a 16-year-old girl, right into the deep end.
This is 17th century Delft in Holland.
It is. And for Griet, being forced to become a maid in the Vermeer household, I mean, that's not just a job change.
Yeah.
In that kind of strictly stratified society, it's a huge fall.
And there's another layer of tension too, right? The religious one.
Mm-hmm. She's Protestant, and she's entering a Catholic home. So, there's friction from day one.
So we have this really intense, simmering atmosphere. And then things really ramp up when she starts to secretly assist Vermeer.
Yes, and it's not just cleaning the studio. It's intimate work.
What is she doing that creates so much risk?
She's grinding his colors for him, running errands to the apothecary, and eventually he has her act as a substitute model.
And this is all happening behind his wife, Katharina's back.
All of it. But what's so fascinating is that the novel isn't really a story about a scandalous affair. The whole thematic core is built on restraint.
It's about what doesn't happen.
Exactly. It's a study in how temptation is constantly restrained, all for the sake of creating the art.
Okay, so that theme of restraint is powerful. But where does Chevalier, let's say, stop restraining the historical facts and start taking some creative liberties?
Yeah, that's the big historical speed bump. The character of Peter von Riven,
A patron.
the wealthy patron, who in the novel is also a sexual predator, he puts all this pressure on Vermeer and on Griet.
And how much of that is real?
Well, Van Riven was absolutely a real patron, a major one. I think his estate had 21 of Vermeer's paintings.
Wow.
But the idea that he was this lecherous figure, there's no documentary evidence for it at all. That part is fiction serving the plot.
And that plot comes to a head when Vermeer finally decides to paint Griet. That must have been an incredible risk for her.
A huge risk. And for the final portrait, he demands this ultimate sacrifice from her.
To the earrings.
The earrings. He forces her to pierce her ears and wear his wife's pearl earrings.
Without permission.
Without permission. And of course, Katharina finds out. It causes this huge scandal, and Griet is forced to leave immediately.
But the novel doesn't just end with the scandal. The real thematic weight comes 10 years later, doesn't it?
It does. Griet is married to the local butcher. She gets called back to the house after Vermeer's death.
And she learns that he left her the pearl earrings in his will.
Yes. But here's the critical move she makes. She realizes she can't wear them. As a butcher's wife, where would she wear giant pearl earrings?
Right. So she pawns them. She uses the 15 guilders to pay off the butcher's bill her family owed.
That's such a powerful ending.
It is, because it reinforces that central theme that women in that time were often treated like possessions.
Passed from parents to employers to husbands.
Exactly. And by selling the pearls, barely sort of, she translates the value of that brief moment as an artist's muse into a small piece of genuine financial agency.
You can see why that story just exploded. It was a New York Times bestseller, won awards.
And its legacy is huge. There was a Vermeer exhibit at the Met in 2001. It attracted almost double the visitors of a previous one.
And the museum credited the book.
At least in part, yes. They said Chevalier's story drew in crowds who might not have come otherwise.
It's amazing how a piece of fiction can totally reshape our view of reality.
It is, and it leaves you with a really interesting question to think about. This novel gets adapted into a film, a radio play. It drives all this interest.
So how much do these fictional narratives, even when they're critiqued for historical details, ultimately intervene in our view of the past?
Does the invented story eventually overwrite the history?
Yeah. At what point does the fiction become the new fact in the popular imagination? It's definitely something to chew on.